This is kind of expectations, right? This is the expectations that you have going into the game is you're going to pressure Russell Wilson. He's going to try to flush himself from the pocket. We thought maybe Quay Walker would be a spy in this game. He was not. They had a different rush plan. And we get him to throw the ball away like he does in the first play of the game here. Quay comes up, makes a great play. Now, this is the thing that, Rashawn Gary is really, really good. He's one of my favorite players to watch. But the difference right now between Rashawn and not Myles Garrett. That's not fair because there's nobody like Myles Garrett. But TJ Watt, some of the premier guys, right? Is when I watch Mike McGlinchey, the right tackle for the Broncos, I'm like, man, this is going to be an all-you-can-eat buffet. Just because he's tall, the way he sets, the leverage, the things that Rashawn is good at, like he's not. But when you just run straight up field here and you get high on the quarterback, you create this opportunity for Russell Wilson to step up and leave the pocket. And you're really feeding into what this tackle wants you to do. In other words, what he doesn't want you to do, because he turns early, is run right into him and make him stop his feet and open up. Now, the downside of potentially is if you have a rush plan and you're saying like, hey, defensive, because there was no interior pass rush. Zero. Quarterback can step up all he wants. And you saw this kind of cone filling up around Russell Wilson. And maybe because they didn't want to spy, because they did do a lot of, they're releasing a lot of their backs. They're basically going five-man protection for most of the game, or a lot of the game, I should say. Chip out with the tight ends, etc. Maybe what they're saying from a defensive perspective is we don't want to waste a guy spying Russell Wilson. So what we're going to do is create this opportunity. Like, we're not going to let him get out of the pocket. So we're just going to build this wall up. And that's why they were rushing high. That's why the interior defensive linemen weren't getting the push that you would think they would get against what is not a very good Denver Broncos offensive line. But when you see these routes, the green route's what he's doing, the red route's what he could do. Just from the jump, just going straight up field, like that's not very hard. You don't have to be very good to make that a successful block, especially when your quarterback wants to leave anyways. Interesting way to start the game. So you see pre-snap. We talked about it last week. What is Russell Wilson good at? He can throw the deep ball, and if you tell him pre-snap where he's going to go and he can throw on time, he's going to look good. So obviously Jair Alexander's out, Valentine's in, and Cortland Sutton is their best offensive weapon right now. So he's at the bottom of the screen. This is an easy pre-snap read for Russell Wilson. It's as far as safety rotation. This is easy. So now they know the safety's coming from all the way to the other side. They just throw the fade, big play down to the 40-yard line. That's just not very. That's not very hard, and that doesn't. You still have to make plays in the National Football League, right? And so, I'm not saying that's a bad scheme thing or anything, but when you're kind of showing, it's like the information you give, it's people see that. If my safeties are off 5 yards, one is 5 yards deeper than the other, and that usually means that one of them comes down and the other one drops. I already know what the rotation is. You might as well just line up with how you want to play it. You see, there's just no, in this pocket, there's just no pass rush. There's just no pass. Preston's high. Rashawn's coming inside, but from the interior, there's just no pass rush. I mean, this is an easy ball. And when you give Russell Wilson easy chances, step up, throw it, what do we say? Vision and decisions. Vision and decisions. Good under center play action. This is the thing that Russell did this week that, we were kind of hoping he wouldn't, quite frankly, is just throw the check down. He's not let Russ cook. He's simmering. He throws the check down on schedule. They get their 8 yards. Keep playing. Meet moving the sticks. I love this play. They ran this a couple times. This is a very confusing play. So they run the split flow, but they have a fullback in the backfield, and they're running everybody that direction. So you see what this does to the defense. Got a lot of confusion here. And then Preston's going to get cut. Misses that back. We missed tackles. Missed tackles all over the board. It's just tough. One guy, I love watching this guy, man. This dude is he's just fun to watch. He's just intense. Upfield, dive over, jump over the guy to make the play. Just love it. Just absolutely love what he does. Now, I put this on Twitter, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't sometimes because people on, I don't know, Twitter's kind of a funny animal. This is a 3rd and 1 goal line situation, goal to goal situation. Excuse me, 3rd and 1. I think they're on the 4 or the 3. So my point is this: they've brought in extra offensive linemen. They have 2 tight ends in the game. We're in nickel. Okay. And so you have Ford and Quay, combined weight of maybe 450 pounds, maybe. And you've got a 300-pound offensive lineman and 250, 260-pound tight ends. And they're just going to run the play that we talk about all the time, kick. They're going to run kick here. And it's like, this literally just couldn't be easier. Now, Rashawn Gary, somebody gets a holding call. I forgot who it was. But there's a holding call that calls this play back. But that's just, I mean, my point is this: like, if you're on the field and you see them subbing all those guys, and you're like, hey, we're staying nickel, and we're just going to go jam front here, you're going like, well, that's going to be hard. That's a difficult one to make happen, you know? You don't want players to stop believing in what they're doing. And right there, just from like a personnel standpoint, that's a really, really tough ask on a 3rd and 1. I know this worked out because of the holding call, but it doesn't matter. It's like you're doing what you're doing. Now, Enagbare, this is what I thought we were going to see all day. I thought this is what we're getting. Just a lot of McGlinchey on the ground, whiffing on inside moves. Enagbare does a great job, stops the guard. Quay fills the hole, makes a play. Visions and decisions, right? Pre-snap stuff. Get some quick timing routes for Russell Wilson on these outs. We know we're going to play him off a little bit. Jaire's not in the game. Got the inside move here on the timing route. And again, this is one of those things where I'm just surprised that we didn't see this more often. I mean, it's so easy to beat the guy inside. It's all over tape. It's all over tape. Got another one here. Arm over. Russell's getting these balls off, but you just feel like there's pressure there. It gets knocked down. I think that was Enagbare. He did a great job. And it's like, sometimes when you got a guy that's open for business, I remember I was coaching in Miami, and the D-line coach, the coordinator, they wanted our ends to run upfield because they didn't want Tyrod Taylor to take off running. So they just had to get up to his height and stop. And look, Bill Belichick, and the Patriots have had pass rush plans for different quarterbacks for years. Very, very successfully. Because it's not about, with Russell Wilson, it's about like, he might get sacked a bunch. He might run around a lot, but when he runs around, he seems to be better than when he's in the pocket. So that's the thought process. Like, it's not that it's not valid. It's just it's just sometimes, I guess, frustrating because you just see these mismatches. And I don't know that's what they did. I'm just assuming because there was no pass rush pressure up the middle and we weren't taking advantage of that inside rush. At least Rashawn wasn't like I thought it would. Here we go, up the middle pressure. Like, where are you? So you got Quay 1-on-1 for a tackle here. There's really no up the middle pressure. I mean, one of the guys at the line of scrimmage. So good throw. And then Quay just misses this tackle. And that's 15 yards. That's 15 yards added up. Talked about it already. Valentine's on a mismatch. Cortland Sutton's going to have him all day. And he's just going to continue to make plays as long as they put him in a situation where he can make plays. I think we got up top, Jerry Jeudy is going to run like a chair. And, I mean, nobody's covering this guy. Valentine's inside out, running straight back. I think we forgot that he was on the field. And explosive play. Just an easy, explosive play. Great job. The motion here comes down and forces the DBs to switch this. And once they switch, you got the matchup you want on the outside. Great route. And you see so Valentine's interesting because he's a bit of a long strider. So you see as he turns slow and he's a long strider, he's trying to catch up, and Jeudy just makes a hard right. And listen, like your first your first round pick guys, your top wide receivers should beat your what really is your fourth, cornerback. With you talk about Eric Stokes, Rasul, Jair Alexander, obviously, like he's on your fourth guy. At this stage in his career, he should be getting beat by these guys. It's just it makes it tough with the kind of coverages there's a lot of things going on here that are very, very difficult. And sometimes, it's very easy for us to complain about coverages and whatnot, but you look at, like, if you really are, it's like last night, the Miami Dolphins are missing 3 of their offensive linemen, and everybody just wants to, like, well, the other guys are pros, they got to play. It's like the difference between Jair Alexander and Valentine, seismic, man. Like, it's a big deal. Like, having one guy in the field versus the other at this stage in their careers, respectively, it's a big deal. Maybe Valentine turns into be an all-pro, and that's great. But right now, it's just a different. Talk about the pass rush plan, and I just don't see a lot of pressure up the middle. And again, you understand if that's what they're trying to do. But if I see both tackles backs pushing them back past Russell Wilson, and then there's everywhere, for him to step up and take off, like, this is a big play in the game. And I guess we probably fell asleep a little bit because he hasn't been doing it, because it had been working. But a vital part of the game right here ends up being I think that was a go-ahead field goal. So they recycle this play again. And you just see how this affects the linebackers, everyone. So Quay's got to follow. Let me show this again. So Quay's got to follow the fullback out for the flat. Sean Gary's thinking this is a keep pass. Then they're just going to kick out with the backside guy. And we're trying to catch him on the backside with Keyshawn Nixon. We're trying to catch the running back. But the problem is either Slayton or McDuffie's wrong. Like, nobody really gets to the outside gap here. Slayton's blocked 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. We have a car crash at the line of scrimmage between McDuffie and can't tell who that is. And this just turns into another big play. Again, tackling matters. And Kenny Clark, I thought Kenny Clark was going to have a monster day. I thought Kenny Clark was going to have a signature game. And I don't know if he wasn't allowed to by the pass rush. I don't know. But after watching Chris Jones, I know that Chris is probably a better player than Kenny, but I thought he would have one of those games. And he'd had some opportunities for penetration here on this left guard. Like, you're doing your job. You're doing a great job here. I mean, this has got to be a tackle for loss somewhere in the backfield. This is certainly enough time for the corner to corral and get to the line of scrimmage and break down. Rasul doesn't. Rasul's been pretty reliable. He's been a reliable player. Misses a tackle here. And again, it's not like this isn't a touchdown, but 5-6 yards, man, on these missed tackles, they add up fast when you miss so many. So if you're playing, whether you call it cup, top hat, all these different ways to play bunch formation. If you're the press guy at the front, you either need to jam him, right? Or you guys have to switch, because they're always going to run upfield in, and the inside guy is going to run out and make the Rasul, in this case, run the loop. And if you don't jam this guy at the line of scrimmage, if you get jammed and pushed back like we do here, just gets absolutely manhandled. Now Rasul's got to run the wheel here, and just can't catch up. This is as easy as it's going to get. And what's the first read for the safety here? I don't know. He's opening to it. Is he ever going to be able to make it there? Probably not. But that's why Rasul is so upset. He has no chance to make that play. He's on their number one receiver. He has no chance to make that play, and it's all because what happens at the line of scrimmage. That's being physical. That's it's not a coaching thing, but that is a thing that you learn on the practice field that needs to be able to transfer. Kenny Clark, one of my favorite players. These guys are subs. These guys are not all pro. This is not an all pro right guard. And this happened a couple times. He gets reached here. And so Quay hits backside because the center's coming up because, quite frankly, Kenny's supposed to be in the other gap. He gets reached and pushed through. And those little plays, they just continue to add up and add up and add up.